Dreamforge Studios, in association with 3AM Productions, presents The Last Genesis. Part 3, The Genesis Wave. Chapter 15, The Genesis Wave. Time seemed to slow. In the heart of the besieged council chamber, Maya stood with Nova held tight, a fulcrum between two apocalypses. Before her was the Void Swarm's leech ship, an embodiment of mindless, consuming hunger, its maw opening to drink the life from the room. Behind her was Malachor, the architect of this disaster, his face a twisted mask of hatred and failure, his power gathering for another strike. Revenge would be easy. A single focused thought, a pulse of the immense power now thrumming through her veins, and she could extinguish Malachor's light forever. The part of her that was human, the part that was still the woman who had been betrayed and imprisoned, screamed for it. But as she looked at the leech ship, she felt Nova's terror, and beneath it, she felt the collective silent scream of Sithra itself. The city was dying, and she was its guardian. A guardian doesn't seek vengeance. A guardian protects. In that moment of absolute clarity, she made her choice. She ignored Malachor completely, turning her back on him in a gesture of ultimate dismissal. She faced the monster. "It's okay," she projected, her thought directed not at anyone else, but inward, to the child in her arms. "I've got you. We've got this. Together." She opened herself completely to their bond, not as a chaotic flood, but as a willing vessel. She became the lens. Nova became the light. She felt the limitless cosmic energy of the Genesis surge. Not from her, but through her. It was not the hot, chaotic power of her fear and anger. This was different. It was warm, brilliant, and utterly pure. It was the energy of life itself. She raised her free hand toward the leech ship. What erupted from her was not a destructive blast or a beam of force. It was a wave, a silent golden tsunami of pure, unadulterated life energy. The Genesis wave. The wave washed over the leech ship. The creature didn't explode. It recoiled as if burned, its dark, chitinous shell unable to process the sheer creative force of the energy. The wave expanded, passing through the chamber walls as if they weren't there. It rolled out into the city, a radiant, healing tide. Everywhere the golden light touched, the Void Swarm's influence was reversed. The dead, darkened crystal of the spires reignited with their inner light. The siphoning tendrils of the leech ships withered and dissolved. The hive-mind connection that bound the fleet together fractured, shattered by a power that was its absolute antithesis. The swarm, mindless and disorganized, stopped its attack and began to retreat, fleeing from the light as darkness flees the dawn. Back in the council chamber, the leech ship, its purpose broken, scuttled backward and fled through the hole it had created. The city was saved. The golden glow around Maya slowly subsided, leaving her standing in the quiet, damaged chamber. She was breathing heavily, not from exhaustion, but from the sheer exhilaration of the power that had passed through her. Malachor stared, his mouth agape, his own gathered power forgotten. He had tried to command the Genesis as a weapon of destruction. She had unleashed it as an act of creation. He had not just been defeated, his entire philosophy had been proven wrong. Broken, he slumped to the floor, his inner light dimming to a faint, defeated flicker. The other guards, no longer needing to fight, moved to take him into custody. Lyron glided to Maya's side, his presence a mix of awe and profound relief. "You have saved us, Guardian," he projected, his voice filled with a reverence that had not been there before. "You have shown us the true nature of the Genesis, not as a weapon but as a promise." Maya looked down at Nova, who cooed softly, nuzzling against her chest. He was tired but safe. She was no longer just Maya Carter, the woman who had been stuck. She was not the destroyer from her vision. She was something new, something chosen. Later, she stood with Lyron on a high balcony, looking out at the restored, glowing city of Sithra. The stars in the twilight sky seemed to shine a little brighter. "They'll be back, won't they?" she asked, her own voice feeling strange and familiar at the same time. Yes, Lyran replied. The Void Swarm will not forget this, and there are other forces in the galaxy who covet such power. The war is not over, Maya nodded, a slow, deliberate gesture. She looked out at the endless star-dusted expanse. It was a terrifying, unknown future, but for the first time in her life, she wasn't afraid of it. She had a purpose, she had a home, she had a child. Let them come, she said, a small, determined smile on her face as she held Nova a little tighter. We'll be ready. Epilogue. The signal. Sithra slept beneath a sky reborn. The spires glowed. The council regrouped. Malachor sat in confinement, his certainty shattered. And across the restored city, one truth echoed quietly. The Genesis had awakened. But far beyond the borders of Sithra, beyond the retreating fragments of the Void Swarm, something else felt it. In the silent dark between galaxies, where light had not touched in ages, a pulse rippled through ancient matter. Not fear, recognition. The golden wave that saved Sithra had not simply healed, it had announced itself. Across dying star systems and forgotten civilizations, dormant structures stirred. Eyes that had watched the swarm for eons turned toward a new point of origin. Toward a guardian, toward a child. Back on the balcony, Maya felt it, just for a moment. A tremor beneath the stars. A distant pressure against her mind, too vast to name. Nova shifted in her arms. And somewhere in the dark, something shifted back. The war had begun long before Sithra. And now, it had truly begun again. Thank you for listening to The Last Genesis. The story of Maya, Nova, and Sithra is only beginning. The next chapter in their journey will continue in the upcoming book, arriving December 2026. And before then, new short stories will be released throughout the year from Dreamforge Presents and 3AM Productions. Stay tuned. More worlds are waiting.